Freedom isn't being able to do whatever you want whenever you want to. That is exactly what I used to think that freedom was. And I guess to some degree it is. But to me, freedom has turned into something completely different once my daughter was born. It all starts with maturity. It all starts with like being able or being forced to mature once my daughter was born. I was thrust on this responsibility. I had 9 months to prepare, obviously, but once she was born, there was no going back, right? So I had to take responsibility for this small child, which forced me to mature. So the first step in my thought process, how it evolved here around freedom, is that I was forced to mature because I was forced to take responsibility. And that is something that I think that we realize that it happens to most people. Most people, when they have kids, they're forced to mature because they're forced to take responsibility for these kids. And that is why we, as a collective, see parents as more mature than their non-parent counterpart. Just everything else being equal, that is pretty much, I think, generalization. Like that is something that holds true over every culture, like just as human beings, pretty much. That's the way I see it. And that is also why I think that most, or not most, but a lot more guys should have kids younger than they think they should. I had my daughter was born when I was 30, but if I was forced to mature as I was forced to do when she was born when I was 27, would that have been better for me? I think that it would have been better for me if I hadn't waited. Now, obviously, you need to have your life in order and whatever you want to have your life in order. You want to have job and stability and all of that. But just from a personal development perspective, having a kid forces you to mature because you're forced to take responsibility, which is very good. It's a very good thing to do. So the first step is you're forced to mature because you're forced to take responsibility, or you mature because you take responsibility. So that's like the first step. And then this responsibility gives you purpose, or it gave me purpose, or it made my purpose in life a lot more clear. Let's just put it like that. So when my daughter was born and all of the things happened, my life completely changed. I sat down and I was really thinking, okay, what do I actually want my life to be when it comes to, what I spend my time on? Because before she was born, it was very easy to just waste time on a lot of things. But once she's born, time just instantly disappear when you're a parent of a small child, right? So what I spend my time on is a lot more important. And also just this feeling inside of just, okay, this is the most important thing in the world, this small kid. Everything else is just secondary to this kid being able to live a good life, pretty much. So I was thinking about like what my role is and what my purpose is, and just came down to basically the 3 P's from Order of Man, I think, way before I ever heard about him. To protect, provide, and preside over my family, over my daughter, right? And that is what my purpose really it really showed, it became very obvious to me that was the case. That was my purpose. So, and once that happened, making the right choices became so easy. And not making stupid choices, not wasting time on shit that doesn't give me anything, became so much easier, because it's so easy to waste time when you don't have anyone else that requires your time and attention and energy. So easy to spend 4 hours playing video games every night. But when you have a kid, you need to take care of that kid, and you need to be up early for work, and maybe you want to build something outside of your own work, then you need to work even harder. And when you have a kid, you have even less time. Your time becomes even more valuable. And then it's so easy to just make the right choice, because if you are aligned with your purpose and what you're doing, making the right choice becomes very easy. So start off with becoming mature, because you're forced to take on responsibility. And this responsibility gives you purpose. It realizes the purpose within you, like becomes obvious to you what your purpose is. This is exactly what happened to me. And then when you have your purpose, when it's obvious what your purpose is, this is what gives you freedom. Because not having to worry or wonder about what you should be doing, what you should be spending your time on, that is the most freeing feeling that I have ever felt. It is not, I don't have to think about what I should be doing. Like, obviously not everything is completely obvious to me. I don't know, I don't have all the answers just because I'm a fucking dad now, right? But when I'm in the position where I'm standing between, I could be making a bunch of choices that would have drastically different outcomes, where I would be spending my time doing drastically different things, it's a lot easier to just see what I should be doing. And that's a very freeing feeling, to not have to worry about that, and to also not have the guilt of having made the wrong choice afterwards. That is super freeing as well. Because when you make the right choice, all you can do is your best, and then whatever happens, happens. And then you just iterate along the way, whatever it is. If it's career, if it's relationships, if it's your fitness, just make the right choice that you know in the moment would be the right choice. You make your best out of it, then whatever happens, happens. You can't do anything more than that. And that is extremely freeing. And that has nothing to do with how much money you have. That has nothing to do with how much time you have. That has nothing to do with your ability to do whatever you want, whenever you want to. It is just living according to your purpose that gives you freedom. I don't know if this made sense to anyone else, but this became very obvious to me when my daughter was born. That I had to mature, because I had to take responsibility over her. And this responsibility gave me my purpose. When I live according to my purpose, I'm more free than I've ever been.